So guys, we're back in this format, man. I don't know if you guys heard what happened over the weekend, but we had another quote unquote teen takeover, one of these large gatherings in the downtown area. This one was in the South Loop over at the BMO Harris Bank parking lot. And the way these things usually form, there's usually like posts on social media, a couple people start posting stuff and then it'll kind of expand exponentially. Like, one person posted to their social media, then all their followers see it. Then they post it, repost it, then all their followers see it, and these things grow. And pretty soon you got these large crowds of teens in usually the downtown area. Sometimes it's spilled over into the west side, and sometimes in the south side, but mainly it's the downtown area. So this time it was about 400. Okay, now the police, they have a social media division that like follows this stuff and tries to preempt these kinds of gatherings. And there's also like anti-violence workers, guys like Bo Deal, former gang members that try to help quell these things and squash them before they start. These things are kind of tricky because this is not really like gang beef. These teen takeovers is just like these spontaneous gatherings of teenagers, and sometimes well, a lot of times like violence ends up occurring at these things. It's not necessarily gang related. It's just like teens arguing and getting into it with each other. So this time there was about 400. There were the anti-violence workers there. They were overwhelmed though. Police were already there, but they started arresting massive numbers of people. And there were two particular teens. They were not, from what I heard, they were not personally into it. One of them was 17. The other one was 14. Okay, and they were just like part of the mix. The 14-year-old, the reports that we have at this point, possibly, we don't know this for a fact, possibly started a blow. Okay, he had the pole on him, and he just started to bust at somebody. We don't know who he was actually shooting at, but the 17-year-old ended up getting shot and killed. So they had his parents, on the news, man, and it's just like, over what? He had told them that he was going out with friends and that he was going to be at one particular location, and he ended up going over to a different location. And the father said, sometimes teens will tell you they're going to one spot and then they'll migrate to a different spot. That's true, but he said, wherever you're going to be, if you're that age, especially, like, let your parents know. He said, and don't lie to the ones who love you. And that's the most important thing he said the entire time. I can't even count the number of incidents that I've heard about where teens, or even younger than that, will lie to their parents and say, and I'm not saying that this teen lied, but he wasn't at the spot where he told his parents he was going to be. So they'll say they're going to be at one spot, they go somewhere else, and they end up getting killed, man. So this doesn't appear to have been gang related. It was just like, people always get into it at these teen gatherings, man, in the downtown area. And sometimes they get into it with people that aren't even part of the gathering, just like passersby. There was an incident like over the summer where it was a guy and his girlfriend. They were like in their early 20s. They weren't part of the gathering or anything. They were just like coming out of a store. And one of the teens, like, that was gathered out in front of the store, just was acting tough and started to shove the girl. And then the boy said, well, not boy, he was like in his early 20s. He said, who shoved her? Don't shove my, girlfriend or whatever. And then the teens just started jumping on him and whooping him. And he ended up in the hospital. These are just incidents where everybody's on social media. Okay, everybody's recording what's going on. And so everybody's acting tough. Everybody's showing off. I can tell you guys, as somebody that's worked in the schools, whenever you get a lot of these teens together outside of a school environment, or outside of like any environment that's controlled by the police or some older group of adults, it turns into just a wild situation, man, where people are just dissing each other, saying, talking slick to everybody. And, in Chicago right now, the culture among the teens is like, and I'm not saying this is the reason that this popped off at this gathering, but the culture among the teens is like, you get almost like credit or respect for being like the craziest, wildest one. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a substitute teacher, I would see this in the classroom. Their teacher's not there, sub shows up and they just start acting crazy, bro. And it's like, there's nothing you can threaten them with or incentivize them with not to do that, because that's just what's going on. Like that's what these kids get credit for with their peers, and showing off for girls and showing off for their friends and stuff like that. And even the girls are going crazy, man. So my advice to everybody that's downtown: if you see a large group of teens, okay, gathered out like in front of, and I'm not talking about like an organized group for a protest or something. I just mean like large groups of teens gathered out in front of any place, especially at night. Totally avoid the entire area. Like don't even just think you're just gonna walk through that crowd, and since you're not doing anything wrong, they're gonna leave you alone. Just avoid the entire area, because these teens are packing guns, man, and shootouts are starting up. And this is like a recurring, regular, type of incident now in Chicago, man. So Brandon Johnson, the mayor, he's got to do something to address this, because it was going on under Lightfoot, and it's become something where it's hurting the downtown area, like the businesses, the tourism, everything. Like people just want to avoid it. Now I haven't seen that like in the northern part of the downtown area, but in the South Loop, when you see one of these teen gatherings, man, it's like they turn it into a no-go zone. So we got the migrants staying at one of the hotels downtown. I see them out there a lot, and I've gone past them all the time, and I've never seen them giving me or anybody any problems. I'm gonna make another video about the gang, La Tren de Aragua. That's the main Venezuelan gang that's gone kind of international. That CBD has been saying that they've been arresting some of their members here, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit. The videos, like I said, they're just going to have to be this FaceTime stuff in the meantime until I can. I got kind of a cheap, like bad laptop that's kind of old, but it takes forever to edit the videos on there. So in the meantime, I'm just going to be doing it on here until my own little situation wraps up. I got to kind of watch the money. So yeah, that situation should be wrapping up though by the end of this month. I thought it was going to be wrapping up last year, but some more stuff happened, and it just drags out. So yeah, pray for me, guys, man. I need everything. I need all the help I can get with the situation. But I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. Rest in peace to this teen that got killed downtown. And parents, watch your kids' social media. Don't just take their word for anything they're saying. Stay on their Facebook, their Instagram, and if they give you like one Instagram, make sure that you ask their friends, if they got any other Instagram or Facebook, because that's where people are letting the other teens know that this stuff is going to happen. It's all on social media, and if you're on social media, pretty much everything that's going on in your kid's life, because the way the culture is going these days, they put everything they're saying, everything they're doing, everything other people are saying about them. You're going to know everybody they're into it with. Like they put their gang affiliation. This is not the 90s, where gangsters are supposed to move in silence. In 2024, they're making everything known. So shout out to the anti-violence workers that are doing their best to preempt this stuff, man. But parents gotta be in tune with their kids' social media, man. Because I'm telling you, these kids' entire lives are online. Like my generation, I'm 42, is totally unfamiliar with this type of clout chasing lifestyle that these teens are involved in, man. Like in our generation, I mean, I was never in the streets, like that. Not at least not in a gang capacity, but these kids, they're trying to be seen. We were trying to stay hidden. These kids are trying to be seen. So, and I've gotten out of everything like that, but sometimes stuff you did in the past still comes back to haunt you at some point, man. So, yeah, rest in peace to that teen again, man. But guys, be smart, man. Be smart and think, and don't chase clout. For any of the teens watching this, clout is not worth your life, because that young man never gets another chance. There's no do-overs in this stuff. Like his chance is over. So rest in peace to him, man. This is your boy Chicago News. I'm out.